The sun had barely risen over New York City, casting a golden hue over the towering skyscrapers. The streets were already alive with honking taxis, hurried footsteps, and the distant hum of conversations. Amidst the chaos, a young woman sat on a small foldable chair near the entrance of Central Park, a spot she had claimed as her own. Maya, a 24-year-old artist with a heart full of dreams and pockets nearly empty, adjusted her scarf against the morning chill. Her fingers, stained with dried paint, trembled slightly as she picked up a brush, adding the final touches to a cityscape. Her paintings were raw, vivid, each canvas a love letter to the city she had moved to, with nothing but ambition and a handful of savings. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from. And don't forget, tomorrow we have another powerful story for you. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Her artwork was her voice, her hope, and sometimes her only escape from the relentless struggles of making ends meet. Despite her talent, she barely sold enough to afford her shared apartment in Brooklyn. Some days, she skipped meals to buy supplies, but she refused to give up. Pedestrians strolled past her tiny display, some offering a polite glance, others barely noticing. Occasionally, someone would stop, admire a piece, and walk away without purchasing. Maya had learned not to let it discourage her. She took a deep breath, pushing aside her worries. Today could be different. Today, she told herself, might just be the day she got her big break. Little did she know, someone was about to stop and change everything. Maya adjusted one of her paintings on the small wooden easel, brushing away a speck of dust. The crisp autumn air carried the scent of roasted chestnuts from a nearby vendor. People rushed past, tourists snapping photos, businessmen moving too fast to notice. Another slow day, she thought, her stomach twisting at the thought of rent looming over her. Then, something changed. A woman stopped. Not just any woman, a striking presence with effortless grace. Honey blonde hair tucked beneath a stylish cap, oversized sunglasses, and a long camel-colored coat. In one hand, a to-go coffee cup. In the other, her phone. Maya assumed she was just another passerby checking messages. But the woman wasn't looking at her phone. She was staring at the paintings. Maya held her breath as the woman slowly removed her sunglasses, revealing familiar blue eyes filled with curiosity. "These are incredible," the woman murmured, studying a painting of Times Square on a rainy night, neon reflections shimmering in puddles. Maya blinked. "Thank you," the woman sipped her coffee before speaking again. "You painted all of these?" Maya nodded. "Yeah. I try to capture the feeling of the city, the energy, the moments people don't always notice." The woman smiled. "That's exactly what I see." She took another step forward. "What's your name?" Maya hesitated, still processing. "Maya Carter." The woman extended a hand, her blue eyes warm. "I'm Reese Witherspoon." Maya's heart nearly stopped. She knew that name. Everyone did. Reese turned to another painting, one of a small coffee shop tucked in a rainy alleyway. She studied it, fingers tracing the air as if feeling the brush strokes. "This one," she said thoughtfully. "It reminds me of a moment in my life, a time when I felt lost." Maya swallowed hard. "Really?" Reese nodded. "That's what great art does, right? It connects us, even to people we've never met." For the first time in a long time, Maya felt seen, not just as another struggling artist, but as someone whose work mattered. And then, Reese asked a question that caught her completely off guard. "Maya, have you ever thought about selling your work beyond the streets of New York? The air seemed to shift. Maya had dreamed of it, but dreaming and believing were two different things. She hesitated. I mean, I'd love to, but I don't exactly have connections or a gallery. Reese smiled knowingly, then glanced back at Maya's paintings, as if seeing something others had missed. Well, she said, taking another sip of coffee, maybe that's about to change. Maya's heart pounded. Was she serious? At that moment, she had no idea just how much her life was about to change. What would you do if someone you admire suddenly recognized your talent? Would you believe it, or would you think it was too good to be true? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Maya's fingers tightened around the edge of her canvas as Reese Witherspoon studied her work. The city's background noise faded, replaced by the rapid pounding of her heart. Reese finally turned back to her, a thoughtful expression on her face. I have an idea, she said. Maya's breath hitched. An idea? Reese smiled. I run a media company, Hello Sunshine. We celebrate women's voices, artists, storytellers, people who create things that matter. She gestured toward Maya's paintings. And your art? It matters. Maya struggled to find words. This had to be a dream. I don't know what to say, Reese chuckled. Well, how about you say yes first, then I'll tell you the details. Maya let out a nervous laugh. Yes to what? Reese glanced down at her phone, then back up. We have an upcoming campaign featuring female artists. Their work, their journeys, their passion. She tilted her head, still smiling. Would you let me feature your paintings? Maya felt the world tilt beneath her feet. Feature her paintings? In a campaign backed by Reese Witherspoon? I don't know if my work is... Stop, Reese said, gently but firmly. Don't downplay yourself. You have a gift, and I want to help people see it. Maya swallowed past the lump in her throat. This woman, this icon, was offering her something she had only imagined in her wildest dreams. But why me? Maya asked. Reese's expression softened. Because I see something in you, and because once upon a time, someone saw something in me. Maya inhaled sharply. The weight of those words settled deep. Reese reached into her bag, pulling out a sleek black business card. Take a night to think about it, but something tells me you already know your answer. Maya took the card with trembling fingers. As Reese Witherspoon turned to leave, she glanced back with a final, knowing smile. See you soon, Maya. And just like that, she disappeared into the crowd, leaving Maya standing there, holding a tiny card that felt heavier than anything she had ever carried. Because in that moment, she realized her life might never be the same again. What would you do if someone offered you the opportunity of a lifetime? Would you take the risk or let self-doubt hold you back? Drop your thoughts below. Maya sat in her tiny apartment that night, the city lights flickering outside her window. Reese Witherspoon's business card lay on the table in front of her, daring her to pick it up. Her mind raced. What if this was too big for her? What if she wasn't ready? She turned to the half-finished canvas leaning against the wall. The strokes were hesitant, uncertain, just like she felt inside. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind. When the door opens, don't stand in the hallway, Maya. Walk through it. But fear had a grip on her. She pulled out her phone, scrolling through Reese Witherspoon's past projects. Women whose stories had been told. Artists whose work had been seen. Lives that had been changed. Could she really be one of them? Her fingers hovered over the phone screen. One call. One, yes, one moment that could rewrite everything. Her heart pounded. Maya exhaled, gripping the phone tight. And then, before she could talk herself out of it, she dialed the number. A crisp voice answered on the other end. "Hello, this is Reese's assistant." Maya swallowed hard, her voice shaking. "Hi, my name is Maya. Reese told me to call." Silence. Then a warm, knowing chuckle. "We've been expecting you." Maya closed her eyes, a mix of fear and exhilaration washing over her. Because there it was, the moment she had stepped through the door. A few months later, Maya stood in the middle of a prestigious New York art gallery, her heart racing as she took in the sight around her. Her paintings, her work, were displayed on pristine white walls, illuminated by warm gallery lights. Above them, a sleek sign read, "Maya Carter, the city in color." The once struggling artist who painted on street corners was now the featured artist of her own gallery exhibition. The room was full of people. Art collectors, reporters, and even celebrities had gathered. At the far end of the gallery, Reese Witherspoon stood, smiling proudly as she chatted with a group of art enthusiasts. The media was buzzing around, capturing the moment. Maya could hardly believe it. Then, she noticed something that made her chest tighten with emotion. A woman stood in front of her painting of Times Square on a rainy night, the same one that had caught Reese's attention that fateful morning. Tears shimmered in the woman's eyes as she stared at the canvas, completely absorbed in the scene. Maya took a deep breath, realization washing over her. Her art wasn't just hers anymore. It meant something to others. It spoke to them. It moved them. Just then, a well-dressed man approached her and extended his hand. "This piece," he said, pointing to one of her paintings. "I'd like to purchase it." Maya blinked in surprise. Her first major sale. As she reached out to shake his hand, she caught sight of Reese approaching with a knowing smile. "I told you," Reese whispered as she leaned in. "Your art matters." Maya swallowed back the lump in her throat, overwhelmed. She had made it. Not just as an artist, but as someone who had once feared taking a leap of faith, and now stood firmly in the future she had once only dreamed of. Have you ever taken a risk that changed your life? What was the moment that made you say, yes? Share your story in the comments. And don't forget, subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's powerful story.